What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Frank Sanchez versus Scott Alexander, and this was a 10-rounder in the heavyweight division, and this fight was Saturday, September 30th from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this fight was broadcasted on the Showtime Canelo versus Charlo preliminary live stream, and it was the featured prelim bout of the card. And this was a very good learning experience and a very good, impressive performance from Frank Sanchez. He looked very, very good in this fight, but he did have to go through some adversity early. Leading up to the stoppage, I had this bout scored 39-36 for Frank Sanchez. And, so this was Frank Sanchez's first fight back since training with Eddie Reynoso. He had a stint where he was with Joe Goosen when he fought Carlos Negron, but now came back here with Eddie Reynoso and looked much, much better, much, much faster. Came in lighter as well, and he looked very good. But just to talk about the adversity that he went through was in the first round. Sanchez was doing better overall in the first round, and then in the last 50 seconds, both of them leaped in with big right hands. Both of them connected, knocking each other back. But Scott Alexander landed a flush right hand on the chin of Sanchez that almost shook up his legs very badly. And Sanchez was visibly hurt, and he clinched. He did a very good job of stopping Alexander's offense by clinching, but Alexander was still landing shots on the inside. But it was a good right hand there from Alexander that sort of shook up Sanchez a bit. So I gave that first round to Alexander. And that was the first time, really, that Sanchez has ever been hit. Even when he fought F.A. Ajagba and dominated him, he didn't really get hit with anything big at all. But then in round number 2 in this one, at the start of the second, Frank Sanchez landed a big 1-2 that dropped Scott Alexander. After review, it looked like that Sanchez's foot was a little bit on the toe of Alexander, but it was still a very good 1-2 that dropped Alexander in that second. And then the rest of that second round was big for Sanchez. He was throwing big uppercuts on the ropes, getting Alexander there, just dominating him in that second. The third round, again, Alexander was just getting walked down. Sanchez was taking it a bit slower paced because of the first round where he got caught with a good shot. He was just trying to pick his shots and not really leave himself open. So he was sort of walking down Alexander a bit more, not leaping in, but he would throw fast combinations on Alexander, and Alexander's face started to bloody a bit, so he won that round easy. Then in the fourth round, Sanchez was dominating him even more, just doing the better work overall. And then in the last 15 seconds, Sanchez landed some good combinations on the ropes on Alexander, followed by a big right hand that almost dropped him. Sanchez thought the referee was going to stop it, but then continued going for it through multiple combination punches up until the bell to close the round, and it looked like Alexander's face was a bloody mask. His eye was pretty swollen. His face was covered in blood from, I'm assuming, his nose. And the referee took a look at him when he was going back to his corner because the fourth round bell did sound to end the fourth, obviously, and he looked at him, and I'm not sure if the corner said anything as well, but the referee, I saw him waving his hands, signaling a stoppage win for Frank Sanchez. So he now improves to 23-0 with, I believe, now 16 KOs. So what is next for Frank Sanchez? Like I said before, a good learning experience for him, but he looked very, very good in this fight. Looked very sharp, powerful, fast. He battled through some adversity, like I said before, and looked very good in the end. And he's the second man to ever stop Scott Alexander. Many guys have went the full distance with him. I know Zhilei Zhang knocked him out in one, but it was just with one punch that, it could have knocked out anybody. But Sanchez here looked very good and beat down Alexander and stopped him. So very good win there for Sanchez. And for Sanchez next, I would love to see him against someone who's like top 10 ranked in the heavyweight division. Personally, I believe that Sanchez is a top 10 heavyweight. His skills are very good. He dominated F.A. Ajagba and dropped him. I really would like to see him next against someone who's top 10, top 15. Otto Wallin just won today over Murat Gassiev for the IBF Eliminator. Possibly, I wouldn't mind seeing Otto Wallin fighting Frank Sanchez maybe for an interim title, something like that, considering Sanchez is also highly rated by the IBF. He's also ranked highly by the WBO. Possibly, if Fury fights Usyk and the sanctioning bodies have disagreements about who's fighting who and how they need to fight their mandatory or something like that, we could see Frank Sanchez fighting for an eliminator, possibly for a vacant title soon. I also wouldn't mind seeing Sanchez fight maybe Andy Ruiz, someone else like that around there, top 10, top 15 in the heavyweight division, because I think he's a very good fighter, and if he gets these big fights, I definitely think he could win them. But as for Scott Alexander, losing here, going to 17-6-2, he landed a good shot in the first round, but he couldn't capitalize on it, and ultimately got broken down and stopped. But yeah, for him, I really think he's going to continue on what he's been doing. I mean, his only losses are to guys who are very solid, and I think that he's going to get a few lower level wins, maybe go to 20-6, and then I think he's going to take on some decent prospects and contenders as the B-side. So overall, Frank Sanchez battles through some adversity in the first round to stop Scott Alexander at the end of the fourth to improve to 23-0, remaining unbeaten. And yeah, that's really it on MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.